Welcome to another episode of You Are the Masterpiece, where we are talking about that it's okay to be work in progress and the masterpiece at the same time. Because as long as we are living, we constantly evolving, we are constantly growing, and that's what life is all about. And if this is the first time you are tuning in, hello, my name is Irina Portnova, and I'm a manifestation star because I manifested consciously great things in my life, and that's what I'm here to share with everybody. And I'm here today with my dear guest, Zsofi Bruckner. Zsofi, welcome, and it's such a pleasure to have you. Can you please say a couple of words about yourself and what are you doing in this beautiful world?
Yes, so thank you and welcome all the beautiful souls here watching. And thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and I feel very, very grateful. And well, it's a long story, but how my path led to who I am today and what I'm doing today, the way I like to phrase it, I'm a purpose alignment mentor and working with the alignment codes, the quantum codes, and those codes are the ones that allows us to find alignment with ourselves, within ourselves, and with the universe, with the quantum. And
Mhm.
it also allowed me and allows people to heal. And I'll share a little bit more on that as well. This is how I got introduced to this. And
Mhm.
it really, that is the key to even start hearing our soul calling, which led me to discover my purpose and my mission on this planet and igniting our intuition, which I couldn't hear until I found that alignment through
Mhm.
these codes. And even allows you to rewire relationship patterns or rewrite your money codes. Like that was another like big discoveries for me. And all of this is really the key to manifesting, which I know you're all about as
Mhm.
well. And this such a gem topic for me as well.
Oh my God, this is so beautiful. And let's just talk a little bit about, let's start the conversation of our topic, Ignite Your Soul Mission and Abundance Codes. And as we are going to talk about it, and something is going to come up where you want to share some of your personal journey. And you know what? I just love to enlighten people because a lot of people are still tuning into the news and they have no idea that we have the control of our life, that we have the power within us, that once we turn into that power, we do not have to rely on the economy. We do not rely on anything what's outside of us. And this is like such a perfect time where we bring more awareness because again, if we don't know it, we cannot really do anything about it. And
Absolutely.
Sophie, I'm so excited that you are here with us today, and let's just dive into what does it mean ignite our soul mission and our abundance codes.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna thread in a little bit of my journey and my story because I started discovering these codes, the quantum codes, the alignment codes, about 15 years ago. And that was the end of a lot of health struggles that I had in my mid 20s. And
Mhm.
I was constantly in this victim state, not having any idea about that I have the control. And the way I looked at it back then, I was like struggling a lot. It was a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of pieces also that affected my self-confidence. So one of the story was I had really bad digestive issues. Like I had diarrhea for 6 years. Nobody could ever give
Mhm.
me any answers. I was losing my hair since I was a child for like 20 something years. And the way I looked at this, I was so desperate to find somebody to heal me. So given
Mhm.
the power out, and it didn't work. And obviously when we are in this stage, and we're going to talk a little bit of the body pillar as well later, that when we're struggling like physically, when we're in pain, that's a high nervous system activation. Like we're constantly living in high stress mode. There's no way you can hear your intuition, even your soul callings,
Mhm.
the mission, the purpose. You can't even think about that because all I
Totally.
could think about, and I remember so vividly, like those days when I need to find someone to heal me. I could not even really function outside of that. And it really, really affected my self-confidence. And when we have the low self-confidence, that you cannot step into your soul purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
what I also discovered, now that was really, really fascinating to me, that I realized that one of the biggest pieces for my health journey, and the key puzzle piece to start recovering, was that I wasn't doing what I meant to be doing. And I knew that, and I felt that. So my soul was screaming at me, and my body started producing those symptoms. And obviously, I didn't see those as a whole picture back
Mm-hmm.
then.
Right.
But later on, once I finally started actually listening to this calling, and I realized like this is like working in the corporate industry, that's soul crushing. Like for me, it was body crushing as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt that just sitting there doing this robotic work, not really having a life that outside of
Mm-hmm.
that, because it was very controlling. I felt just not like no value to what I was doing. I felt I wanted to give something back to the world, but I couldn't. I felt limited. I felt blocked. I felt controlled. I had no freedom. And that affected my body as well. So they were like, it went on full circle because one affected the other. And
Totally.
when I discovered that, oh my gosh, I need to start stepping out of this circle and really find who am I on this planet and why I'm even here. Because I felt this calling. I felt I'm here for something more. I'm just here for something different. I need to give back something to the world. I have so much good in me. I have so much energy. I don't want to waste it on something that's not doesn't have any meaning to the world. And the moment I started discovering these pieces,
Mm-hmm.
my body started to heal. And the more I
Mm-hmm.
stepped into that, the more I realized that that is such a big factor for people, the lack of alignment in their life, and not doing it. 8 plus, not even 8 to nowadays, what, like 10, some people have 15 hours a day, they just doing it work, especially when they work
Mm-hmm.
for somebody else. And your body is in a whole different state. You're not in alignment unless you absolutely love what you're doing and you feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
doing something good to you, to others, to the world. But let's be honest, it's not really the case for most people. And
Absolutely.
how much it affects our ability to create our lives, to manifest, to even
Mm-hmm.
listen to our intuition. And the universe is sending us the codes every single day. It's poking us through different things. And one of the things that it was poking me and a lot of people, those symptoms, whether if it's
Mm-hmm.
physical, whether like challenges showing up in our lives, but we don't take
Mm-hmm.
it that way. So we tend to take this victim position and, oh, my life is so hard and things are happening to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, oh, it's actually happening for us when we're able to read these codes. And for me, it really, what ignited that for me, seeing how many people are struggling to find happiness and find this fulfillment and find alignment in their own life, because that's a really, really big missing piece. The soul mission, the purpose, just to do something meaningful, even finding meaning in our lives. But it can only really
Totally.
come through alignment. So these were
Mm-hmm.
the two pieces. Like I needed to reestablish my alignment. So I started stepping into my soul purpose. That started to heal. I started alignment process, but I still got stuck because I was missing some of the alignment pieces that allowed me to actually fully step onto my soul purpose, which was
Mm-hmm.
really to serve. So I really dived into energy medicine, subconscious work, mindset work, all of the pieces, Reiki, yoga teaching. So it was a big collection of things and
Mm-hmm.
certificates that I started doing. And I wasn't quite aware of also that I wasn't just doing them. Yeah, I was fascinated by them. I love every piece of it, but it's still, I couldn't fully step onto that purpose. I couldn't fully stand up and saying like, oh my gosh, this is me. This is what I do. This is who I am. I was still playing small. I didn't have the confidence. I people who
Mm-hmm.
follow me know that one of my biggest struggle was public speaking. I could not
Mm-hmm.
do anything like this, what we're doing even right now, 6 years or before that. So and
Mm.
my journey with the healing and that medicine and those codes was a lot longer then, but I really needed to figure out the alignment piece. and like through those quantum codes. And how can I actually create this? And that's the piece of the identity shifts that we need to go through in order to truly get to that manifesting mastery that you're well familiar with
Mm-hmm.
as well. Well, for me and what I'm seeing, it's really the alignment that's missing for people. And really the gaps that I started seeing after quite a long time and going through a lot of different modalities. Oh, and I don't know if I completely finished the thought process of people to see that why I was collecting those certificates. It wasn't just because I was so interested in them, yes, but I didn't have the confidence to actually fully step into any of them. So I just kept
Mm-hmm.
collecting, and where
Kept,
did
yes, kept receiving another training and another training.
exactly, and where did that come from? Because I wasn't aligned with that confidence of, oh my gosh, yes, I can do this. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
still running the subconscious programming of that I'm not good enough, or I one of my deepest programming was that I don't deserve to be successful. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not quite aware of those because the subconscious programmings are subconscious, so we're not seeing them
Right. We
at
do
all.
not
They are
know
blind
them.
spots. Exactly.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was
Can I
another deep
just
dive.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sophie, can I just say something as you are bringing this up because it's so important for a lot of people to actually pause and reflect on their life because I know whoever is tuning into the episode, there is a message for them, and there is no coincidence that they are watching this episode. I just wanted to bring up, like you said, like it shows up when we are not aligned with our soul mission. It shows up in different areas of our life. Like in your case, it was if affecting your health. In my case, like I had the big aha moment in my relationship 7 years ago when I was on the brink of the divorce. So I want everybody just to pause and think what is going on, just like take a bird view of their life and just like really just have that little analysis what exactly is going on in each area of your life, whether this is health, whether this is your love and relationship, whether this is your career or your finances, right? Look at all these areas of your life and see where is that you don't have the balance, because that's exactly something you want to really focus on, because this is something might be like your soul is calling for something, right? And like you mentioned, that's so true. Until we step fully on our life path, what exactly we meant to do in this life, until we come up with to that, we are always going to experience that disbalance. And this is for everybody, it's not just for some people, right? Because we are all here on the mission. And once we just tune into that, and I know for some people might be watching and thinking, they're a little bit cuckoo, but you know what? The more you start studying it, and like we were talking about it, so if you, before even common life, we were talking about it. Hey, a lot of people just like not aware, because a lot of people think from the woo-woo perspective, but there is also the science that back up everything, and that's exactly where you're going to share about the quantum field and what are these codes that we can tune into.
Yes. And yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. That's why I also said at the beginning that these codes allow us to rewire almost any areas. Because when
Mm-hmm,
you're aligned, or when you're not aligned, it really affects
mm-hmm,
everything. Your relationships with your kids, your work environment, how much money you can earn, all of the pieces. So it's really rewiring every piece once we find that alignment. And
mm-hmm,
also the science part, oh my gosh, like that is probably one of the most fascinating pieces, because finally now we have the data, finally we have the actual true science through quantum physics and other experts also who are working with epigenetics, let's say. And
mm-hmm,
now they're bringing the pieces together so we actually can measure all the things that looked like woo woo before, whether if it's
mm-hmm,
manifesting, whether if it's law of attraction, whether if it's any of the pieces, energy medicine, and how we broadcast constantly things out. Now, when we're not aligned, the frequencies that we send out is completely different. And when I mentioned the identity shift, that also another piece that what allowed this me to do is stepping into a different identity, because I was stuck in a different identity. And I'm going to explain a little bit why that happens. And that was the piece that I found as a big missing link for manifesting as well. So when we think about classical manifestation, law of attraction, creating our dream life, people and with different modalities, whether if it's sitting down in meditation, whether if it's even praying, whether if it's doing the classical manifestation tools, and you read the books, you do the studies, and most of them is, yeah, you sit down, you tune in, or you rewire your subconscious, you do mindset work, and it's always like a bottom to like a top to bottom modality, like we calling it in from above. And there's, yeah, we need to connect with the quantum and with the universe. Yes, that's a really big piece. Absolutely. That's where we're calling in the energies from. But the missing piece, and that's where, for me, the biggest science came in, and through, especially because I went through the body challenges and the physical challenges. So let's say we're able to tune into those frequencies and we send out the right things with the right thoughts, let's say, or maybe you even rewire some of the subconscious patterns. So then you start sending out the right frequencies. But when you start calling them in, if you can even call it in, it's going to be stuck here also. Because what happens, and this is the piece that people don't really talk about, and that's when the somatic alchemy really, really changed and shifted my whole world around it and my whole view, that your body, your nervous system has different agreements with life through trauma, through any kind of life event that created some kind of an emotional imprint in your body. And the only way you can truly sustainably shift, and then we can sustainably do manifesting, and not just that, but allowing to receive and holding that capacity and expand our capacity to receive more. That is not something that from the head to up. It is what you can actually take in, and how you can shift those energies. Well, we need to look into what's going on in our nervous system. And even Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it the subconscious body mind, because the subconscious doesn't really live in our head. It's stored in our body. And those agreements are gonna have you take different actions or non-actions. Non-actions is gonna make a big impact just the
It's
way.
also the action, right? Non-action is
Absolutely.
also the action.
Absolutely. We're building our legacy every single day and we're not even aware of it. So now we got to choose, like, what is the legacy that we want to build? And for me, that's not an option, that I'm not being on this soul mission and then really bring these goals. And like, that is what my life purpose became. And I had to listen to those signs through my body. And so this could happen in four different, not could happen. Like, we need to look into four different channels and four different pillars, kind of five, but the fifth one is the energetics. That's going to be the umbrella that really is linked to all of them. Well, they all connected. But so one is, and that's usually the classical teachings work with a lot of the mindset. So the conscious work and the language. So that's one of the channels that I have people work through as well. What are you even sending out with your thoughts? What are the things that you're even aware of? And we need to work through that, and we need to change your language, and that's helping your identity a little bit, but it doesn't get to the deeper levels. It doesn't allow you to even see the subconscious pieces and patterns. And the second one is still a classical work with the manifestation tools and such, with working through the subconscious, but it cannot fully sustainably shift and change unless we actually get into the body channel. And the body channel has two different aspects, as the way kind of I discovered it. One is, yes, the health piece, the pain. Like, if we are in the survival mode because there's something going on in the body, it's very hard to shift into manifestation and shift into purpose, shift into attracting money, because you can't even really think about it. You're in survival mode. Your nervous system is like holding on like that. But I'm not saying either that just because you're not 100% fully healthy, or you can only manifest when you have zero pain or zero discomfort in your body, that is not true. And that's the second piece with the body channel that's fascinating, that the key is to rewire our relationship with our body. And it's not just physically. So that's one part of it, of how you can look at these symptoms and pain even, because those are the actual gateways to the quantum. So to me, the biggest life-changing discovery through, like, about these pain points and like physical challenges in my body was starting seeing that those are, and I started calling them my guardian angels. Like, those are the little messengers that are there. Your body is directly always linked to the universe because that's the only place in you that is present. And so you receive these messages every day, every time, through the pain as well, through the challenges, through diseases, where diseases, that's
Mhm.
distant from
Right.
ease. And
Mhm.
when we, like, I was just trying to push him away. I'm like, I don't want this. I can't handle this. I just need someone to heal me. Instead of actually tuning and listening, like, oh, why are you here? Like, what is that? What are you trying to tell me? And
Mhm.
those were the ones that put me on this whole path. So they, in that sense, completely changed and saved my life. And I thought the opposite. So it's rewiring your relationship with those pieces as well that will allow you to shift into the manifesting and these alignment codes. And the other piece is the relationship with yourself. Now,
Mhm.
that has a lot to do with also the subconscious and the traumas and what are those agreements, what we hold about ourselves. Now, that is really key because you won't be able to manifest, even relationship with your physical appearance. If you every day, let's say, look into the mirror and you just have a subconscious feeling that, yeah, I didn't do my exercise yesterday again, so I still didn't lose the weight, or whatever it is
Mhm.
that comes
Mhm.
up. Or to me, a lot had to do with like my hair, my appearance. I even hated my voice. So it's like I had a completely almost non-existent relationship with myself. And so rewiring that and really embodying and embracing, and not even just self acceptance, that's the base level, that's the standard, but
Mhm.
actual self love, that will change the emotions. And the emotional channel is the fourth one,
Mhm.
because the body holds the emotional imprints, and the emotional imprints are the ones that are creating the subconscious patterns and blockages. That's why we sabotage, because the body had an agreement with certain things, let's say abundance and wealth, that somewhere in the past it learns that it's not safe for you to have that. And it could be something simple. It doesn't have to be a major money trauma, let's say, that you've gone through. It could be something, and it's a similar story that I had in elementary school, that, let's say you have a little performance or something in front of the classroom, and it's what if it goes well or not? Let's say the classroom starts laughing at you for any reason. What if it's appearance? What if it's just what you said or whatever it was? And immediately your nervous system goes into survival and says like, "Ooh, this is not safe for me to express myself."
Mhm.
So, and let's say 15 years later or 20 years later, 10 years later, whatever it is for you, you're trying to, and that was for me, start my own business and spread the message of, yeah, this is what I do. And so these things created those major, major blockages for me to be able to speak even what I do, and be like anything like public speaking, creating something that I would be put on the spotlight was
Mhm.
impossible. Teaching,
Mhm.
no way. Like, and how does it come to the conscious mind? That's when we need to be aware of the different channels. Your conscious
Mhm.
mind will say like, oh, I don't have time for that. That's a very
Mhm.
typical one. Or, yeah, I'll probably do that when the kids are out of the house. Or, yeah, I'm just not a good communicator. Or I have an accent.
Mhm.
Or I'll do
Mhm.
that when my body's healthy. Like, your conscious mind is going to justify, because
Yes.
it's coming from the nervous system. It's coming from your body. But how it comes out, it's your your mind may or may not realize that you're doing it as a survival, most likely not, because it's subconscious, so it's going to be hidden. But you notice the avoidance patterns, you notice the sabotaging, you just don't
Mhm.
understand why. And we know that your brain is not here to make you happy, it's here to keep you safe. But safety
Mhm.
means anything that's known, anything that's familiar. And this way, trauma can be familiar, pain can be familiar, unhealthy relationships can be familiar, poverty can be familiar, whatever it is that you keep finding yourself running in circles, not really be able to get out, it's most likely because it's just what I know about life. This I learned how to operate in this, and I don't know what's outside of that. And for your brain,
Mhm.
it's always going to be scarier looking, at least. And unless you can find how you can change those agreements in the body. But that's what I was talking about. It's when it's the bottom up work and that alignment. The alignment only can come from the bottom up. So through the body, through the nervous system, through those channels. And that's when you can actually have that clear channel that you can call in everything and you're able to hold it. You're not going to push it away. Otherwise, like, look at all like the lottery winners. Like that's, I don't remember
Mhm.
exactly the statistics, but I think like 90% of them, like in 2 years, they are dead broke. That's why.
Mhm.
Like they called it in, like somehow they tapped into it. But their body, their nervous system said like, ooh, this is not safe for me, because let's say I didn't deserve it, I didn't work hard for it, or people are going to judge me, whatever it is going to come from. But those are the imprints, emotional imprints in the body. So that's why I'm so big on this piece of the alignment, so we can actually have that clear channel. You can't fully manifest sustainably unless those gutters are clear. I call them the gutters. Like you got to clear
Mhm.
those channels and build it up from the bottom up.
Awesome. Can you just tell a couple of words about abundance codes, what they are, and how people can to tune in?
Yes. So the abundance codes are everything what I was just talking about related to money. And it could be anything about success, your own business,
Mhm.
how much money you think that you're worth earning, everything. Those are the same agreements in your body, but it's just related to money. And whatever you had a bad experience as a kid, from like something that you learned about money, learned about abundance, that is not safe somehow for you, your body holds that agreement. So to me, what I mentioned, one of my biggest programming was that I don't deserve to be successful. So it doesn't have
Mhm.
to be super directly related to money itself, because I didn't quite grow up in poverty, so I didn't learn through those traumas. But certain traumas, like those elementary school experiences, that I learned that it's not safe for me, or if I express myself, then I'm gonna be not liked or misunderstood. And so that was one part of it. But and also some other childhood emotional imprints that created this.
Mhm.
Like, I don't deserve, like I didn't do enough, or I'm not doing well, or constant criticism. Those are the things that I did grow up in. And
Mhm.
those created those agreements in my body. So I cannot be successful because I don't deserve it. Or if I attract a load of money, my system pushed, and it happened, like it came in waves, and I didn't understand
Mhm.
this for a long time. Like I could tap in. That was easy for me to learn how to tap into these quantum codes to call in certain things, and then it happened, and then it didn't happen. Like there was a big gap. And
Mhm.
that was the piece. So I didn't have the capacity to hold, because my body had that agreement. It's like, oh, no, no, you don't deserve it. It's not safe for you to have
Mhm.
it because you don't deserve it. People are going to judge you. People are not going to like you. But like whatever that we create or created in the
Mhm.
past, but then anything that's related to then success, money, let's say building your own business. Uh, and again, on the conscious level, it will come up as like, I just don't have the time, or I'm just not a good communicator, whatever it is, and we're just going to push it
Mhm.
away and sabotage it. So we
Mhm.
won't be able to actually wire those abundance codes, like tapping into an endless stream of money, and also beliefs not just about yourself, but those programmings that we have directly related to money.
Mhm.
And the other cool thing is, it's a lot of people, when we learn about this and like, oh, let's work on manifesting more money, etc. Yeah, you sit in a meditation for 10 minutes, maybe twice a day, if you're lucky, if you can sustainably do that. And then the other 95% of the time, who are you being in relation to abundance
Totally.
as well?
Mhm.
Like that's where the real trick is.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
how your body reacts. So again, nervous system reactions and imprints. How your body reacts when there is an unexpected bill coming in, let's say. How do you react
Mhm.
when, I don't know, the gas prices go up, like everything that brings it up. And
Or
to be,
even, you know what, so Sophie, what comes to me, even when somebody got success, how do you react on that, right? Because that's the
yes,
biggest issue. People are so full of jealousy, not realizing by being jealous of somebody else's luck, not luck, but success, right? Showing up with the money and everything, they're actually blocking their own success, because it's all about
Absolutely.
just tapping into that energy, right? And when you celebrate success with others, when they are successful, they are just showing to the universe that they are ready for that same energy to be actually introduced to them.
Absolutely. And there's two cool things. They are actually codes that I'm going to share a little bit in relation to what you just said. Um, One of the ways I was able to transform that, I don't have this negative jealousy or like judging people when they were wealthy. I probably had some trust issues with that. Like, oh, I don't know if I would, let's say, trust a super wealthy man. But like
Mm-hmm.
those are there, right there. But the aspect that I want to share now, what allowed me to actually transform that into quantum codes, the little jealousy, the envy that we feel when somebody is, let's say, successful in a way that you would love to see your life unfolding. To me, that was, and it started with little things. When multiple people start sharing, they either became yoga teachers or their friend became a yoga teacher, and I had this weird like, oh, good for them, that's so good. And I could never do that. Like, that was obviously the programming,
Mm-hmm.
but it brought something up for me. And when you notice that, that's not any negative jealousy, but this little like, oh yeah, I wish I could have that. Well, I could never do that. So not judging, but just having this feeling. Well, that is a way that the universe is calling you forward. Because
Longing, to have the longing, right, for something that you want
exactly,
to
and it
experience. Yes.
shows you that it's within you, like it's
Mm-hmm.
already there for you in the quantum. Otherwise you wouldn't have a reaction to that. It was like, yeah, cool, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
but to me it was different. I started feeling, I wish, kind of, it didn't form like in my language like that, but the
Mm-hmm.
feeling that I start feeling like, yeah, I couldn't do that, I'm just not good, I'm not good at
Mm-hmm.
teaching, it would freak me out, whatever it was that back then that came up.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's one of the cool ways that you can transform those into actual manifesting codes, that you start listening to that. Oh, I had a reaction to this person sharing something. Is it something
Mm-hmm.
because I want in my life? And like wealth, when you see successful people or sharing their big money successes, and you feel like, oh, good for them, it never works for me, or I just wish, but I'm not capable, whatever it is, it's
Mm-hmm.
there for you. So you better listen to those callings. And
Totally.
the other piece that I wanted to share is in relation to how we operate, like literally 95% of the time, outside of the, oh, and I'm going to sit down and meditate so I can call in more money. But the other time, that we completely sending out the off frequencies and we're not even aware of that. And one of the things that I realized, I thought I was doing it so well and I set my goals. And let's say you want to manifest, I know, consistent 10K months, or you want to lose 10
Mm-hmm.
pounds. It really doesn't matter what area you want to apply that to. And I thought, when I set these goals and I set probably some action steps and I was going for it, and I was like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm on the manifesting path for that. And I wasn't aware that what I was doing, what I was actually sending out, was the opposite. Because when you have this goal in the future somewhere, and it was like, yes, I'm gonna hit that, I'm gonna go for it. You're excited, like you're sending out some positive at least, but actually what's happening is you're sending out that I'm not happy right now. But I
Totally.
will be when I get there. I will be when I
Mm-hmm.
achieve the 10 pounds, like let's say weight loss, or the
Right.
10 months or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked when I realized that I was like doing it all wrong. So even when we think that we operate with our actions and what we do, a lot of the times it's not necessarily the right thing that we're sending out. So that's another cool thing with the codes, to get aware of like what I'm actually sending out. And is this, and that's why the body work and the somatics are super, super fascinating, because that's the only place that is present. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
place when, and it's so cool that we don't have to do like 10 years of therapy, dig into our past and what happened and how is, it's just going to reignite those traumas in the body, and it's going to just keep blocking you from
Yeah,
manifesting.
and that past is going to show up in the future for sure, because
Yeah.
we are reliving the same experiences.
Yeah, but when with those somatic uh, alchemy tools, that you can actually just be present with the body, and retrain your nervous system so it can regulate itself. And when it can regulate itself, so you can actually get rid of those money codes that blocking your abundance as well, because we have a lot of that we hold in our body and in our cells about wealth, about abundance, about what we deserve, about success, about doing, if you want to do your own business, especially because you really have to go
Mm-hmm.
through an identity change. Like I had to change the, oh, I'm not a good communicator, or my voice is bad, or I have an accent, or whatever it is. Like that identity was not able to do any of that. But through these like the alignment and the quantum codes really help me step into an identity that, and that identity is not something that it's new that you create. It's already was there for you in the quantum to begin with, and you were born for that. So it's more like finding the way back to that version of you, that higher version of you, that we just don't feel like we have access to it, and we do. And again, it doesn't require 10 years of therapy and digging into our past and traumas and all of that. You can actually work in the present, and that's the only place and the only time that it could work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love everything what you shared. So for somebody who is new to this, what would be the tip? What is like a good starting point for them?
The good starting point is really to go through those channels, and the body channel is really probably the most handy in a way, because it's always there, so we can get aware of the symptoms, like the signs, the messages through the symptoms easy. And the conscious work is really accessible to everyone. Like you don't need a very deep work for that to notice your language, notice your thoughts, and interrupting those patterns. When, let's say, you start getting triggered, you feel it in your body, you start holding up, those are easy signs to notice. And the language, what we use and how you feel, let's say, oh, now I have to pay my rent, and then what is
Mm-hmm.
the pattern after that, what comes next for you normally, and interrupting those patterns, that's going to break a lot of those, well, the sabotaging patterns. And but
Mm-hmm.
breaking the cycle is really one of the keys. And like working through this channel, like finding alignment is really the foundation if we really actually want to tune into like true manifestation. And working through those channels is allowing you to, oh, and the fifth channel is really the energetics of it all. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there is an energetic channel, the pillar, but it's more like an umbrella. It's like the web that holds it
Mm-hmm.
all together. So when you work through those, the other four channels, the body, the conscious, with the language, subconscious, the emotional channel, that will shift and rewire the energetics, because your frequency is going to change. And then you get into like a different identity. So that alignment piece of the work is where I would really start.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Lots of information. I know that we can talk about it like for hours, but it just for people to, like with the simple language, even when you mentioned, Sophia, that, it's very simple. It's simple, but it's not easy because, again, our habitual things are going to bring us back to our programming where we maybe catch ourselves talking the way that we are not supposed to talk, maybe once, maybe twice, but for the rest of the time we are on the autopilot. So that's why everything requires the timing, and we train our brain muscle the same way as we would train our physical body. The more we learn about it, the more we tune in, and remember, we become better, we become more skillful as we practice, right? So everything is going through repetition, through constant just doing this work, right? Again, it's not difficult, it's simple, but it's not easy. And that's why
Yeah.
it's so super cool to have somebody by your side, to have that coach, to have somebody who can actually guide you, who can support you on your journey in order to see your success. Because again, we were not born to be accountable as much for ourselves, and it's always great when we have somebody by our side. So this is just like a reminder that we were never meant to do this work alone, and we don't have to, right, if you choose so. And thank you again so much for everything and coming today to the show. And for everybody is to check out the links for Zsofi and see if this is something that might be of interest to you. And wishing everybody a great day. Continue learning about yourself, continue discovering, and again, just tune in more what my life looks like to me right now and what area that screams to me at this point, right? Because it all starts from asking ourselves these important questions. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day.
Awesome.
Bye.